Alright, so this is number 7. It says solve the following systems by hand using elimination and substitution. I'm going to work on D and E in this video. Those seem kind of the tougher ones. So let's start with D. You have 3x minus 1 equals 3z. And then I have 4 equals 6y minus 3z minus 3x. And then negative 2x plus 6z equals 10y minus 7. Alright, so when I'm looking at this system of equation, they want me to solve it by hand. I'm not going to use Gaussian elimination because that's what was done previously. You can. But for this one, I'm going to do, or I compare the equations. So I'm going to kind of rewrite this because it's kind of a mess. I'm going to rewrite this to kind of everything line up so I can see it better. So I have 3x minus 3z equals positive 1. Basically lining up my x's, my y's, and my z's, and then my numbers on the right side of the equal sign. And then here I'm going to have positive 3x, be careful with the sign, negative 6y plus 3z, right? So positive 3x, negative 6y plus 3z equals negative 4. Move everything over. And then I'm going to do this last guy, so the 2 is still on the left, so he's good. Minus 10y, and then I have plus 6z equals negative 7. Alright, great. So now I have my x's, my y's, my z's kind of lined up, so I'm going to compare. The first thing I'm going to do is compare the first two equations, so I'm going to rewrite. So I have 3x minus 3z equals 1. And then 3x minus 6y plus 3z equals negative 4. Just by looking at these two equations, guys, the easiest thing for me to do right now is I can eliminate. You can eliminate whichever variable, but here, if I want to eliminate the x's, I need to multiply one of these guys by negative. But if you look at the z term, see how this one's already plus 3 and this one's minus 3, or minus 3 plus 3? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to eliminate the z term. So these will automatically cancel out, negative, positive. So then you're just left with 3x minus 6y equals negative 4. I'm going to rewrite. And then 3x equals 1. That's it. And so now I'm just going to add. So 3 plus 3 is 6x minus 6y equals negative 4 plus 1 is negative 3. And this is my first bubble equation. It's not my answer, but it's where I have it in terms of two terms. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here and I'm going to look at the second and the third equation. So I'm going to rewrite. So 3x minus 6y plus 3z equals negative 4. Negative 2x minus 10y plus 6z equals negative 7. And I need to eliminate the exact same term that I did here. So I'm eliminating the z term. So if I look at this guy right here, I'm going to multiply this guy by a negative 2. Why? Because 3 times negative 2 will give me negative 6, and then these guys will cancel. So now I'm going to rewrite. I need to make sure I distribute everything. So you get negative 6x. Negative times a negative is a positive. 6 times 2 is 12y. A negative 2 times a positive 3 gives us a negative 6z equals, and don't forget the last term, 4 times 2 is 8. Negative times a negative is a positive. Rewrite the other guys. Now I'm just going to combine. So my z's will cancel. So it's negative 8x, and then this is plus 2y equals 8 minus 7 gives us 1. And this is my second bubble equation. So now what I'm going to do, get my pink pen, I'm going to compare the bubbles. So I'm going to rewrite them side by side in the middle here. So I have 6x minus 6y equals negative 3. And I have negative 8x plus 2y equals 1. Now it's really important, you can see that we always eliminate the same variable, y, because we have our x's and our y's. We narrowed it down from a 3 variable equation to a 2 variable equation. Very important. Alright, so now I'm going to pick something to eliminate here. What I'm going to eliminate, it looks like the y is a little bit easier, so I'm going to eliminate the y. And I'm going to multiply this bottom guy by a positive 3. So now I'm going to rewrite, right, because I've multiplied by a positive 3, 3 times 2 is 6, and then those will cancel. So I'm going to rewrite 6x minus 6y equals negative 3. 8 times 3 is negative 24. 3 times 2 is 6, and then 3 times 1 is 3. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and draw my line. These guys cancel. So negative 24 minus 6 is going to give you a negative 18. And then negative 3x, and then negative 3 plus 3 is 0. Now be careful, some of you are like, wait, no solutions, what's going on here? Is it all real numbers? Hold on. Let's divide by negative 18. Always solve for x. And so you have x equals. Now you have to remember, 0 divided by a number, that's okay. You can have 0 in the numerator, right? So 0 divided by negative 18 is 0. I had a lot of kids think, oh, I see that 0 already, I'm going to think it's no solutions or all real numbers. Anytime you have no solutions, that's when your x's cancel out, and that's when you get a number equals a different number. So if I had like 5 equals 3 or 7 equals 2, where something is false, that's when you have no solutions. When you have infinite solutions or all real number solutions, that's when you have a true statement. So that's when you have the x's still cancel out, but you end up getting like 2 equals 2 or 4 equals 4 or 3 equals 3. That's a true statement, and that's how you know. In this case, we didn't have either of those. We just had 0 divided by 18. 0 divided by 18 is 0. Now, remember, 0 under the line is undefined. That's what I always tell my kids to remember, that little saying, 0 under the line is undefined. So if you have 0 in the denominator, that's bad. 0 in the numerator is good. So this is okay. This is not okay. Alright, so our x is 0. Now the best part is that was the hardest part. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. I need to pick one of my bubble equations to plug in 0 for x. It does not matter, whichever one you want. So I'm going to go to the left side. So my x is now going to become a 0. So now 6 times 0 cancels, so I get negative 6y equals negative 3. I'm going to divide by negative 6. Be careful with your negatives. A negative times a negative is a positive. And so 3/6 is 1/2. I know y'all don't like getting fractions, but it's okay. So your y is 1/2. Now when I'm done with that guy, I'm going to go back to my original 3 equations, right? So I'm going to scooch down or scooch up a little bit and see my original 3 equations, because I have my x and my y coordinate. I'm now going to plug them into one of these. And so I could probably plug it into the first one. That's the easiest, because I don't have to plug in 2, I just have to plug in 1. So I'm going to plug in my 0 right here for x. 3 times 0 minus 3z equals 1. This cancels. Divide by negative 3. So z equals negative 1/3. Alright, so when I'm writing my equations, I'm going to write 0, your y coordinate is 1/2, and then your z coordinate is negative 1/3. That's it.